It's supposed to be the best time of your life. Freedom, parties, new friendships. But behind the ivy-covered walls and glowing dorm windows, some stories never make it to graduation. Some students vanish without a trace, and their names are only whispered in late-night conversations. You won't hear these stories during orientation. They're hidden, tucked between student legends and police reports that never made the news. These are the true tales no one wants to believe, but they happened. And once you hear them, you'll never walk through your campus the same way again. Tonight, we bring you 4 disturbing college horror stories. Stories of students who vanished, stories that still haunt university grounds, and stories that will make you question everything you thought you knew about your own campus. Keep your eyes open and don't skip ahead, because the last story is the one that still has no explanation and no ending. It started on a rainy Thursday night. The campus was quiet. Most students had gone home for the weekend. Emily, a second-year psychology major, had stayed behind to study for her midterms. She lived on the 3rd floor of Holcomb Hall, the oldest dorm on campus, built in the 1920s and known for its creaking pipes and drafty windows. She was last seen walking into her room at 8:47 p.m., captured by the hallway's security camera. Nothing seemed off. She smiled at the camera like she always did, key card in hand. But what happened next remains one of the most disturbing mysteries this college has ever seen. When her roommate returned Sunday evening, she found the door still locked from the inside. No lights, no answer. Campus security had to break it down. Emily was gone, completely. Her phone, her bag, even her half-drunk coffee were right where she left them. But the window was sealed shut, the door had never been opened, and no one had seen her leave. It was as if she had been swallowed by the room itself. Whispers of her disappearance spread quickly across campus, fueling speculation and fear. Some said the room was cursed, while others believed Emily had discovered something she shouldn't have. Her friends recalled how she often spoke of feeling watched, though they had dismissed it as stress-related paranoia. But now, they couldn't shake the feeling that maybe she had been right all along. The university launched an investigation, bringing in experts to examine the room for clues. They found nothing, no hidden exits, no signs of struggle, just the eerie stillness of a place abandoned mid-thought. Emily's professors described her as diligent and bright, with a promising future. She had no reason to leave, no enemies, no secrets, as far as anyone knew. As weeks turned into months, the story of Emily's disappearance became campus lore, a chilling reminder of the unknown lurking in familiar places. Students left offerings outside her door, flowers, notes, and small trinkets, hoping to appease whatever spirit might linger. Some even claimed to hear her voice late at night, a soft echo in the hallways, calling out for help or perhaps trying to warn others. The university eventually decided to convert her room into a study lounge, hoping to erase the memory of what had happened. But those who dared to enter said they felt an undeniable presence, a cold touch on their shoulder or a faint sigh as they studied. Emily's story, like so many others, became a part of the campus's whispered history, a reminder that some mysteries are never meant to be solved. And so Holcomb Hall stood, its secrets buried deep within its walls, waiting for the next curious soul to uncover them. Campus security immediately called local police. When they entered the room, they were expecting signs of a break-in, maybe a forced window or a hidden passage through the closet. But what they found left them speechless. The bed was made, untouched. Her laptop was still open on a document titled Consciousness and the Human Mind. Her phone showed no outgoing messages. The timestamp of her last online activity, 8:56 p.m., just 9 minutes after she entered the room. But strangest of all was what they found on the wall behind her desk. Dozens of tiny scratches, like fingernails, etched into the paint, circling a small black hole in the drywall the size of a coin. Forensics said it led to nowhere, just insulation and brick. But what disturbed everyone was the hallway camera footage. From 8:47 p.m. until 8:56 p.m., the video shows nothing, just static. No one went in, no one came out. The building itself was silent. After her disappearance, that room remained empty for years. Every student assigned to it dropped out within a week, complaining of whispers in the walls and the feeling of being watched. Some said they heard Emily's voice, gentle yet urgent, urging them to leave before it was too late. The university tried to address the growing fear by bringing in counselors and organizing group therapy sessions, but nothing seemed to quell the unsettling atmosphere surrounding Holcombe Hall. Eventually, rumors about the room's history began to surface. It was said that decades ago, a student had gone missing in the same room under eerily similar circumstances. The connection was too stark to ignore, and soon the tale of the vanishing room became part of the college's folklore. Students would dare each other to spend a night in the room, but no one ever lasted until morning. Despite the efforts to keep the campus calm, the mystery of Emily's disappearance remained a chilling topic of conversation. Some students formed online forums to discuss theories and exchange stories about paranormal experiences in the dorm. Others organized candlelight vigils, hoping to bring peace to Emily's spirit or to anyone else who might have been lost to the room. As the years went by, Holcombe Hall continued to hold its secrets close. The room, now permanently sealed, stood as a silent testament to the unknown forces that sometimes weave their way into the lives of the unsuspecting. And while new students arrived each year, drawn by the promise of education and adventure, the shadow of Emily's story lingered, a reminder that some mysteries are never truly solved, and some whispers never fade away. Every campus has its traditions. Some are innocent, others aren't. At Westbrook University, one tradition had been kept off the books and buried in rumor: the fraternity basement dare. Each year during Rush Week, the upperclassmen of Delta Psi dared new pledges to spend one full night in the basement of the original fraternity house, a building over a century old, with boarded-up windows and a foundation that reeked of mildew and old secrets. The catch: the basement had no power, no signal, and once you were inside, they locked the door from the outside. It was all supposed to be harmless hazing until the fall of 2012. 4 pledges went in. One came out, barefoot, bleeding, and shaking so violently he couldn't speak for 3 days. The other 3, never seen again. The survivor's story changed each time. First, he said they got lost, then that someone else was down there. Finally, he whispered one word to campus police: chanting. That's when the fraternity shut down overnight, the house condemned. But late at night, students still claimed to hear screams from beneath the boarded floors. The tale of the fraternity basement dare became a dark chapter in Westbrook University's history. Despite the house being abandoned and the fraternity disbanded, the legend persisted, whispered among students like a secret too chilling to forget. Some claimed that on stormy nights, when the wind howled through the empty corridors, you could hear the echoes of those lost voices. The basement, now sealed and forgotten by most, became a forbidden place on campus tours, a spot where no one dared linger too long. Yet, every few years, a group of daring students would attempt to uncover the truth. Armed with flashlights and bravado, they would creep up to the old house, peer through the cracks in the boards, and listen for any sound from below. Most returned with nothing but stories of creaking wood and their own pounding hearts. But a few claimed they had seen shadows moving behind the windows, or felt a cold breeze seep through the cracks, carrying faint whispers of laughter and cries. The university, eager to put the past behind, considered demolishing the structure. However, each attempt was met with strange setbacks, equipment failures, sudden storms, and once an unexpected power outage across campus, leaving the old building shrouded in darkness once more. For those who believed in the curse, the house stood as a reminder that some secrets are better left buried. It became a rite of passage to leave an offering at the steps, a token of respect to those who never left. And while new generations of students arrived each fall, eager for the adventure and camaraderie of campus life, the shadow of the fraternity basement lingered, a silent warning of the mysteries and dangers that lay within the heart of Westbrook University. According to the only survivor, it all began as a joke, laughing, filming on their phones, teasing each other about the dark. But that laughter died quickly when the lights on their phones began to flicker one by one. At first, they thought it was just bad signal or old wiring. Then they found the second staircase. It wasn't supposed to be there. Behind a rusted boiler hidden behind rotting wooden boards was a narrow stone stairwell leading deeper into the ground. The air grew colder. The silence became deafening. When they reached the bottom, they found a room, circular, with walls covered in handprints. Dozens, maybe hundreds, some large, some childlike, none of them fresh. In the center was a shallow pit, and beside it, a single candle still burning. That's when the chanting started. Low, rhythmic, in a language none of them recognized. The door behind them slammed shut. The survivor claims he never saw what took the others, only that the shadows moved, and the pit began to pull them in. He ran before he could see more, but he never stopped hearing the voices. Years later, the survivor still couldn't shake the memories of that night. He avoided basements, dark rooms, and anything that reminded him of the chilling whispers that seemed to echo in his mind. Despite the fraternity's abrupt closure and the building's condemnation, whispers of the night's events continued to ripple through the campus. Some students were drawn to the mystery, seeking to uncover the truth, while others avoided the topic altogether, treating it as a nightmare best left forgotten. Campus lore grew richer with each passing year, embellishing the tale with new details and theories. Some said the handprints belonged to those who had been lost to the basement over the decades, while others suggested the pit was a portal to another realm. Whatever the truth, the story of the fraternity basement dare became a cautionary tale, a dark reminder of the unseen forces that sometimes dwell in the shadows. For the survivor, the experience served as a haunting lesson in the perils of curiosity and the cost of taking things too lightly. He often warned others not to go searching for answers they weren't prepared to find, reminding them that some doors, once opened, could never truly be closed again. And though he tried to move on, he lived with the unsettling knowledge that something still lurked beneath the university grounds, waiting, watching, and perhaps still listening for the next group of unsuspecting souls to venture too far. Freshman year is supposed to be awkward. New classes, new faces, adjusting to a life away from home. For Jake Patterson, it started out that way. He was assigned a double room in a mid-century dorm, known for its peeling paint and weird plumbing. Noises, but he was just happy to get a room with a decent window view. His roommate, Nate, seemed chill, quiet, kept to himself, always wore a hoodie with the hood up. They didn't talk much, but Jake figured that was normal. Nate mostly studied, at night, muttering things under his breath in the dark, while Jake wore headphones and tried to ignore it. After 2 weeks, Jake's parents came to visit. While giving them a tour of the room, Jake casually mentioned Nate. His mom frowned. "There's only one bed," she said. Jake blinked. She was right. Nate always sat in the chair, never used the bed, never brought food, never showered. And the strangest thing, Jake had no idea what Nate's last name was. When he asked the RA about him, the RA stared blankly. "Jake, you don't have a roommate." Jake laughed it off at first, thinking it was some kind of joke or mix-up. But the more he thought about it, the more unsettled he became. How could he have been living with someone and not notice these things? That night he lay awake staring at the ceiling, listening for any sound that might prove Nate was real. But the room was silent, filled only with the soft hum of the radiator and the occasional creak of the old building settling into the night. The next few days passed in a blur of confusion and curiosity. Jake tried to gather more information, asking classmates if they knew Nate or had seen him around, but no one did. It was as if Nate existed only within the confines of their shared room. Determined to find answers, Jake started digging through old campus archives and university records, hoping to find some clue. What he discovered was chilling. A series of incidents in the dorm dating back decades, each involving students who claimed to have roommates that no one else ever saw. The stories were all eerily similar. A quiet presence, whispers in the night, and then nothing. The students involved either left the university or refused to speak of it again. Realizing he was part of a long-standing mystery, Jake felt a mix of fear and responsibility. He decided to document his experiences, hoping to shed light on whatever was happening in that dorm. He took photos, recorded audio, and kept a journal of every interaction with Nate. The more he observed, the more certain he became that Nate was real, but not in the way most people understood. One evening, as Jake sat in the now too familiar silence, he felt a cold breeze pass through the room. The chair where Nate usually sat creaked softly. A shiver ran down his spine as he heard a faint whisper, "Remember me." It was then that Jake knew Nate wasn't just a figment of his imagination or a ghostly roommate. He was a part of the dorm's history, a lingering echo of a life once lived. Jake moved out at the end of the semester, but he never forgot Nate. He left behind a small note on the chair, thanking him for the companionship and promising to remember. And as he walked away from the dorm for the last time, he felt a strange sense of peace, knowing he had acknowledged the presence that so many had tried to forget. Confused and a little shaken, Jake returned to his dorm. He tried to act normal, but something was off. That night, Nate wasn't there. His chair was empty for the first time. The room was cold, colder than usual. And when Jake turned off the lights, he heard a whisper, "Don't forget me." He turned the lights back on. Nothing. The chair was still empty. The next morning, Jake went to campus housing to request a room change. That's when he discovered something terrifying. The room he'd been assigned was listed as a single. No one was ever placed there with him. No records, no name, no Nate. But Jake had conversations with him, heard him walking at night, watched him take notes under the lamp. Desperate for answers, Jake started digging into the dorm's past. What he found chilled him to the bone. In 1994, a student named Nathaniel Green had died by suicide in that very room, never found until days later. The chair Jake had seen him in, it had belonged to Nathaniel. And the hoodie he always wore, same one shown in the archived police photo. Jake moved out the next day, but sometimes he still hears the scratching of a pen and the whisper, "Don't forget me." The university library was massive, 4 stories tall, with glass windows that reflected the clouds and a silence so deep it felt like the air itself held its breath. But beneath all that beauty was something students never talked about. The hidden 5th floor. It wasn't on the map, no signs pointed to it, just a single rusted staircase in the far back of the archives, behind a locked metal door marked "Maintenance Only." Most thought it was just an old storage level, until Julia Mendoza, a history major working late on her thesis, found it by accident. She was looking for a rare manuscript and followed a loose reference that led her behind the shelves. The maintenance door was slightly open. Inside, only shadows and the echo of dripping water. She texted her friend jokingly, "Found the ghost stairs, lol," before descending. She never came back. Security footage showed her entering the back aisle, but the camera cut out 3 minutes later, and when it resumed, she was gone. The last image, her phone screen lighting up one final time, showing the words, "You shouldn't be here." After Julia's disappearance, the university was in uproar. Students whispered about the mysterious fifth floor, weaving tales of ghostly librarians and ancient secrets hidden within its walls. Professors reassured their classes that it was all nonsense, a fabrication of overactive imaginations. But those who knew Julia couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister lurked above the stacks of forgotten books. A few brave souls attempted to replicate Julia's path, hoping to uncover the truth or perhaps find some trace of their missing classmate. They returned with stories of cold drafts and fleeting shadows, but no evidence to satisfy the growing curiosity. The administration, eager to quell the growing fear, issued a statement dismissing the rumors as urban legend, insisting that the so-called fifth floor was merely an old section of the building closed off for renovations. They even installed new locks and cameras, but the stories persisted. As the weeks turned into months, the tale of the hidden floor became a rite of passage for new students, a mystery wrapped in the allure of the unknown. Some said Julia's spirit lingered there, watching over the library's secrets. Others claimed to hear faint whispers when they studied late at night, as if someone were reading over their shoulder. Despite the warnings, the allure of the unknown continued to draw the curious and the daring to the library's shadowy corners. And while Julia's fate remained a mystery, her story became part of the campus lore. A reminder that sometimes the most compelling stories are those we cannot explain. It took campus police 2 days to open the door again. Not because it was locked, because no one wanted to go inside. Rumors spread fast. A missing student, scrambled security footage, a message that appeared on a screen no one touched. But when they finally entered, they found the staircase covered in dust, except for one set of footprints going down. No, return prints. At the bottom was a concrete floor, unlit and cold, with shelves of books that hadn't been checked out in over 50 years. Every spine was blank, every page was empty, but in the center of the room was Julia's phone, still glowing, still recording. Investigators found 13 minutes of footage, shaky and dim, but around the 11-minute mark, something moved in the background. Tall, pale, watching. No facial features, just the suggestion of a human shape, standing perfectly still behind one of the shelves. The audio picked up Julia whispering, "It's not a floor, it's a trap." And then, nothing. The library sealed that staircase the next day, cemented it shut. But students still say that if you study too late, you might hear footsteps behind you, even when you're alone. The tale of the library staircase quickly became a chilling staple among students, a haunting reminder of the mysteries that lay hidden in plain sight. Despite the university's efforts to dismiss the incident as a tragic accident, the story took on a life of its own. Students would gather in hushed circles, sharing their own unsettling experiences and speculating about what truly happened to Julia. Some dared to venture near the sealed door, leaving behind small offerings, notes, trinkets, or even a book with a blank spine, as if to acknowledge the unknown presence that lingered there. Others avoided the area altogether, wary of the strange feeling that emanated from the walls, a coldness that seemed to seep into their bones. The library, once a place of quiet study and academic pursuit, now felt different. There was an undercurrent of tension, a sense that something was watching from the shadows. Late-night study sessions became a test of bravery, with students casting nervous glances over their shoulders, ears tuned to every creak and whisper. As the semesters passed, Julia's story became woven into the fabric of campus folklore, a cautionary tale about the dangers of curiosity and the hidden corners of the world. Some believed that her spirit was trapped within the library, eternally wandering the dusty shelves in search of answers. Others thought she had uncovered something far more profound, a truth about the nature of the university and its secrets. Yet, for all the speculation and fear, life on campus continued. New students arrived, unaware of the stories that preceded them, drawn to the promise of education and the thrill of discovery. But those who knew the tale of the library staircase carried it with them, a reminder that some mysteries are better left undisturbed, and that sometimes the most terrifying things are those we cannot see. And so the library stood, a silent sentinel of knowledge and enigma, its secrets buried deep within its walls, waiting for the next curious soul to dare the unknown. They were just students, ordinary people chasing dreams, pulling all-nighters, stressing over finals, and yet each of them stumbled into something far older than textbooks and dorms, something hiding beneath the surface of campus life. Just out of sight, just beyond explanation. Emily's room that defied time, the fraternity basement that devoured voices, a roommate who never existed, and a forbidden staircase that led to nothing and nowhere. 4 different schools, 4 different lives, but the same patterns, the same silences, the same vanishing points where reality bends and logic breaks. Maybe these stories are urban legends passed down over pizza and Red Bulls. Or maybe, just maybe, every campus has its secret. One hallway, one room, one staircase you're not supposed to find. So the next time you hear whispers in a quiet dorm or feel cold air at your back in a library, ask yourself, are you alone? Or are you being watched by something that doesn't want to be seen and never lets you leave once you do? If you've made it this far, then you've already opened the door. And now it's your turn to decide. Do you walk away and pretend none of this ever happened, or do you stay and look deeper? Because these weren't just stories, they were warnings, and somewhere out there someone else is living their own nightmare right now. So if you've ever heard a sound at night that you couldn't explain, or seen a shadow move just a little too fast, you're not alone. Share this video with someone who's ever walked a dark hallway alone. Drop your own creepy campus experience in the comments, if you dare. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because the next video might just be about your school. Sleep tight, just try not to listen too closely when everything else goes quiet.